You fight when the necessity arises, no matter the mood. Now fight! I have you.
Hey guys, we just saw the long and highly anticipated movie, Dune.
That's right, everybody. And with so much anticipation in this movie, is this one of those kind of movies that's going to suck you in like quicksand and live up to the hype? Stick around, because we're about to find out.
All right, Billy, we got Dune. It's available on HBO Max and in theaters. I saw it at home on HBO Max, and you went out to the theaters.
I took my son to the theater and saw it on IMAX. You know, I mean, this is one of those movies. It was so hyped, and you know, there's no way I was just gonna watch it on HBO Max, man. I saw the original, and I watched it again a couple months ago, just kind of spin myself up on it so I can compare it to this one. And I haven't read the book yet, but I actually started reading it, you know, just yesterday after watching it. So I got downloaded it on Audible so I can listen to it in the car. But, you know, because I definitely want to see, like, how the book compares to the movie. But, yeah, man, there's no way I was going to watch this on the small screen. I went to the big screen, saw this bad boy on IMAX, and you know, and it just, you know, all-star cast, man. Freaking all-star cast, this movie, dude. You had Timothée Chalamet, who did an outstanding job, Rebecca Ferguson, and we had freaking Dave Bautista.
Jason Momoa. Did you say Oscar Isaac?
I had Oscar Isaac. We had Brand. You know, from the Goonies, man. You know,
Josh Brolin.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Josh Brolin in here. I mean, fantastic cast, man. Fantastic cast.
It's a good cast. Can't really complain there.
No, not
Zendaya's
at all.
in it.
Yeah, Zendaya. Oh yeah, I can't believe I forgot Zendaya. No kidding. Yeah, Zendaya. I mean, just awesome, man. I mean, Javier Bardem. I mean, holy cow, dude. Yeah, I was like, I started seeing all these freaking, and I don't. Some of them I don't even think it showed in the preview. Like, I didn't know Javier Bardem was going to be in it until I saw him in the movie. I was like, oh crap, you know, he's in it too. I was like, all right, this is good. But yeah, no, I was excited, man. And like I said, you know, we're kicking back on the big screen, just waiting, and I'm looking at my son with you know, he's getting anticipated, and I'm anticipating. This thing pops up after, you know, 25 minutes of freaking, you know, damn previews
trailers.
And crap.
Yeah, it's exactly. A long time at the theaters these days.
Yeah,
I watched it from the comfort of my home, so I'm just chilling. I did not think this was movie theater worthy because I had a feeling this movie, going into it, I felt like it was going to be like Blade Runner, where the hardcore science fiction people and people who read the novel are going to love this movie. But I was nervous for the casual moviegoer because it didn't show much comedy in the trailers, and it just had that Blade Runner-esque feel to me where it's a good story for people who care about that, but it didn't seem like it was going to draw the casual person into it, and that's what I was worried about. Right. And I'm more of a casual going into this. Exactly. I didn't even really see the previous movie. It's been so long, I might as well not even seen it. So I'm kind of going into this fresh.
Yeah, so me, dude, I'm telling you, I mean, and I get your point. You and I kind of talked about this. Is this an exciting movie? No, it's not an exciting movie, but it's a beautiful movie. I mean, beautiful backdrop. You know, I mean, they bring, you know, Arrakis to life. You know, Arrakis is the planet. I mean, they just bring that planet so much to life in this movie. I mean, just beautiful scenery when you're looking at all the sand dunes and everything that's going on and the worms going through everything. And just even when they're flying over the city and you get to see the whole city and how, you know, and just how cool that they made that look with all the special effects and everything. And even the ships, I was like, you know, I mean, just right off the bat, I was like, man, wow, what a beautifully made
filmed
movie, man. Gorgeous movie. And
awesome effects, awesome background, awesome acting.
Awesome, phenomenal acting, you know, and like I was blown away, man. I loved it. I mean, I thought it was great, especially with all that. You know, I mean, storyline aside, you know, I mean, yeah, because you know, Dune, especially this first half, is, I'm not gonna say it's boring because I wasn't bored, but a casual viewer would be bored, right? Like my buddy Chris, who did the Halloween thing with us. You know, he's a huge sci-fi guy. He loves Dune. You know, he liked the original, but I even talked to him about it, and he's like, dude, he saw it. He's like, this one blows the original away. He's like, this one actually sticks more to the book story. He's like, than the original one did, you know, because the original tried to fit just too much into one movie. He's like, you know, he liked how he split this up into two, and you know, and it did a great job. You know, just what I've read of the book so far, I'm about 3 hours into it, and it really, I mean, the storyline's flowing really well with the movie so far.
Here's my issue with this right off the bat. they don't really set up the story very well for a casual person. They are throwing all these kind of clans, tribes at you, and you have no memory or anything of them. So they are just names to you in the beginning, and they're not names you're too familiar with. So they're throwing a lot of story at you right out front, and they're not telling it in a clear and concise way. They probably should have had like a graphic come up that kind of broke down the history and showed you what happened to these clans, who getting in control, and like almost
should have been like a Star Wars
a hierarchy chart.
Should have been almost like the Star Wars things that rolled across screen, or they should have had a narrator just come in and say, Clan Harkonnen and Clan, Atreides, or excuse me, House Harkonnen and House Atreides, not clan, houses, have been at war for however long, right? And just tell you like there's a lot of big houses involved, and like, but these two are kind of at the top fighting, and then and of course, and then they should mention that, hey, the Emperor kind of sees, House Atreides as a threat, so he wants to get rid of them. Yeah, you're right. They should totally give you a kind of a scene opening, an opening scene kind of explaining what's going on here, and they don't do that, right?
Yeah, and I get it.
The original movie didn't either.
If you read the books, you're going to be following it already. Right. But for someone going in fresh, it's pretty confusing. Oh,
absolutely. Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Out the gate.
I agree 100%. And that is a problem with it, but... Yeah, I mean, because I never read the books when I saw the first movie, and I was like super confused even watching the first time. So I wasn't as confused watching this one because I kind of knew what was going to happen based off seeing the first one, even though a lot of stuff that happened in the first one didn't happen in this one yet because they split this one up into two, but it's just the one.
Yeah, and I get the sense that they are trying to pack a lot into this, and that's why they probably broke it up into two parts, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
But here's my other issue is they don't really serve scenes that are like a hook for you to really care. Like after watching this movie, if I were to go back and go, what scenes stood out to you, especially from like some kind of action standpoint, or what really sticks in your mind? Not much comes up.
Because again, this first half there really wasn't a lot of action.
I think that's
right?
an excuse, and I think you want to pack the first half with your most exciting stuff, because that's what's getting people to draw in and care.
But if they're trying to stick it to the book, the way the book is...
Why stick it to the book? The book is how old is that book by now? Things have changed, evolved. Star Wars is somewhat, I hear, loosely based off this book, and they took the action up and ramped it up. So if you're trying to go off something that's 30, 40 years old, might not be the best idea. And I get you're trying to stay true to the book, but
and stay true
if that's not the best for your audience, maybe you need to deviate a little bit.
They're trying to stay true to the fan base, right? So, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you're probably going to upset people, but if you do it in a respectful way, you can pull it off, and you can make both people love it, and you give an audience something a little bit different. Why just retell the book? You've already read the book. Let's give you something a little bit different, a little bit more exciting.
Yeah, we saw how well that worked out for Game of Thrones.
Well, it's worked out for Batman. It works out for a lot of things if done right.
Well, but Batman's been written several different times. There's tons of different Batman cartoons.
This has been written several times. There's a TV show, there's movies, and they didn't work out. You know why?
The book hasn't been written several different times.
Because the previous movie was boring. Guess what? Blade Runner, that stayed true to that series. Boring movie. The casual doesn't care. It didn't make much money. I get like the hardcore fans would, but you need to draw other people in than just the hardcore fans.
Well, I think the acting and the scenery and all that alone will draw people into this movie.
It won't.
Do I think there's going to be people out there like you that say, hey, it was boring? Sure. There's been plenty of people out there like you that said it was boring, but they're not going to be able to say, oh, the acting sucked and the scenery sucked.
Who cares if nothing happens? I've seen great acting in many boring movies. I don't care.
Yeah, well, that's true. Well, I mean, we kind of...
No sudden move. Great acting. Boring movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, who's going to see that? Nobody.
I don't know, man. See, to me, this wasn't a boring movie. I can see how people think it was a boring movie, but for me, it wasn't. I liked how it built the story. I liked just how the plot kind of went along, and it's kind of showing you I like where it's leading up to. I like where they left this one off and where it's going, where it's leading, and that's because I've seen the first movie, so I know what's going to happen. And so I like how they did this movie and how they kind of led it up to where it's at now. Like for me, for instance, I hadn't read the books yet. In the first movie, you had Thade Harkonnen, who is the Beasts, which was played by Bautista in this. It's his brother in the first movie, right? He's in it. And I'm like, dude, where's Thade in this movie? Like, why is it? Because he was played by Sting in the original. I was like, dude, where's his character at? And I was talking to my buddy Chris. He's like, oh, no, bro, you haven't read the book. He's like, Thade's really not introduced until later anyway. He's like, he might mention him a little bit in the beginning, but you really don't see much of Thade until later. He said, so he said Thade will probably come in the second movie. And I was like, okay, well, that explains it. Because the old Dune movie, Thade was in it right off the bat. But evidently, he doesn't really play an important role until later on, after some of the events that happened. So I'm looking forward to seeing who's going to play him, who that role is going to be, because I loved Sting playing him, man. Sting did an awesome job playing that guy.
And let me tell you, I don't hate this movie. I'm kind of playing devil's advocate a little because I'm looking at it from the casual viewpoint.
Right, no,
I like sci-fi. I'm tracking this movie. I'm tracking the story. And I enjoy the acting and I enjoy the world that they created. But I don't think the casual person is going to get hooked on this. I want to see where it goes. And I thought it was a pretty good movie. But I just don't see how a casual person, especially if you're not into sci-fi, goes into this movie and goes, this is amazing. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Well, and like you said, it's because of lack of action. There's not a lot of action in this movie.
And the action that is in it, nothing special. The fighting, nothing special. The bombardment and takeover of the house, not much special.
That was pretty cool to watch.
I've actually seen better in Game of Thrones and TV shows.
Yeah, but that was still pretty cool to watch, man. All the freaking missiles coming down.
It makes me bring a lot of questions. Like, you're this huge thing. You got interstellar travel. You don't have any warning system that another house is coming from way off, and you don't realize they are there until they're right on top. One guy disables all their advanced systems, and he's able to bring this whole thing down by doing one thing.
Yeah, that's pretty much how, that's pretty much how
and
it
let me
works.
tell you, what else is a little bit weird about this world is they're super advanced, again, traveling through space, but they are fighting with swords, and and I think the reason for this, I haven't read the book, but it's because they have like individual force shields that only slow things apparently can get through, but they show some guns that aren't used in this. They show some weapons that can penetrate it. And if you were to fire a ton of these little bullets that kind of like slowly tick away at you, that would be a problem. And it's certainly much better than a sword. In this, they have such advanced technologies that makes me think you guys should have this technology, or at least create it, because you got all kinds of crazy stuff going on, but you're using swords.
Like, they should all have a hunter seeker gun on them that you can just shoot.
And I get swords are cool. It's cool fighting, but it's not a lightsaber, that's for sure. It's not cool like that.
No, well,
say there's a lot of cool stuff, like the art direction. The planes look like little dragonflies, which are kind of cool and interesting.
Yeah, what they call them, the orthocopter. That was cool.
But yeah, it's kind of. I mean, I enjoy sword fights probably more than gunfighting, but it just doesn't make sense for me. In this
I mean, this definitely.
And I'm sure they have something to explain it, but I'm not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, no, I mean, there were. This definitely wasn't like, watching like a samurai freaking showdown kind of sword fight thing or anything like that, But it was still, I mean, to me, it was still enjoyable. I enjoyed it, and I thought it was definitely much better than the first movie, fight scenes. And to me, it was just a beautiful movie, man. Just beautiful, well put together, freaking,
I agree with all that.
I mean, just amazing acting. And
great.
And
everyone's pretty much bringing it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And there was no, one thing that was refreshing about this to me is that there was no, they did keep us to the book, and they didn't add any crappy freaking political stuff into this, or any of that stuff, try to make it, any kind of woke nonsense thrown in there. They kept it true to the book. They didn't throw any crap that's going on in the world today in there. They kept it in there as a story that has nothing to do with us today. It's based in the future, 10,000, 9,000 plus years in the future. And they kept it at what it is and didn't try to throw any freaking crap from today in there to slide any freaking nonsense in there like a lot of movies now do. So I was definitely appreciative of that.
Yeah, and I liked Paul Atreides' character.
Yeah, he was awesome.
I thought, younger actors, I sometimes are like, let me see, but the kid did really well.
That kid did awesome. That kid did great.
So
absolutely,
I can't really complain about anyone's acting. They're all really good.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Brolin did good as Gurney. Freaking Javier Bardem did good as the the leader of the Fremen. Yeah, man. I thought we were gonna see a little more Jason Momoa. We didn't get to see a whole lot of him. I was kind of hoping to see a little more, but but the little bit we did see him, I thought he did great.
Yeah, he's fine.
So yeah, man. To me, dude, fantastic movie. I freaking loved it.
Lady Jessica was fine to me. The Duke was fine to me.
Yeah.
So, I really liked the relationship between the dad and the son.
And I liked how they picked Stellan Skarsgård to play the Duke too, because I thought he did a great job of that, man. I thought he did a fantastic job playing that character, and that was awesome. And then, when I first saw it, I would have never originally thought of him playing that role until as soon as it showed him, I'm like, holy crap, that's Stellan Skarsgård. I'm like, man, he just doing, and it showed him, like, oh, he's perfect for that.
He played that really well. I was referring to Duke Atreides or whatever, but phenomenal as well.
Baron. Stellan Skarsgård was the Baron, but exactly. Isaac is Leto Atreides. Yeah, but yeah, man, it was phenomenal, dude. Phenomenal acting, man, from everybody. But what I thought was funny is when he's talking to his son and he's like, Yes, and I can understand, if you want to do something else, for me, it's the most important thing is that you're my son. He's like, me, when I was younger, I really wanted to be a pilot. So immediately, as soon as he says that, it starts thinking of Poe Dameron, right?
Right,
I'm
yeah.
like,
And that was pretty cool.
Right.
I don't know if that was how it went down the book or whatever, but that was pretty cool, kind of like tie into that.
Right, exactly. So I kind of got a chuckle out of that and leaned into my son. I was like, did you catch that? He was like, yeah.
Now, I will also say this movie is pretty dry on comedy. It's not a very funny movie. They don't really try and sneak them in like a Marvel movie or anything like that. I mean, it's not a very funny movie, and they don't try to be.
Yeah, I mean, they had that one little funny scene in the beginning with Jason Momoa and Timothée Chalamet, where
he tells a joke.
Like, I
mean,
he's like, "Hey man, did you put on a little muscle there?" He's like, "Oh, do I look like I did?" He's like, "No."
And that's about as comedic as this movie gets.
Yeah. I mean, it's a serious movie.
Yeah, and I like that though, because like there's a real threat there, and they're not bumbling morons like we see in Star Wars with the stormtroopers. Those guys should be feared, but they're kind of like bumbling morons these days.
Right.
And I like these guys aren't like that. And like Dave Bautista, he's pretty brutal actually. He comes in there and he ain't messing around. He lops people's heads off, all kinds of stuff. So it's a serious movie, and I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, like you said, they're not. Your stormtroopers are bumbling idiots, can't hit anything with a freaking 2 feet away from them, with a blaster. Where these guys are coming with their swords and just freaking slicing people up, man. So just even with the shields on. So yeah, man, that was great, man. And I liked the seriousness of this movie. I liked that it was a serious movie. I liked that it flowed along the way it's supposed to. From what I understand of how the book was written. And dude, I thought it was great, man. I was blown away. It was better. It was better than what I thought it was going to be, quite honest. Like I went into it knowing it was going to be kind of and like I said, for me it wasn't boring, but I went into it understanding that some people would think it would be boring. But for what they had to go with, to lead up into the next one, I thought they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I wasn't personally bored with it, but I could see how, like, if my wife watched it or something like that, she'd probably be asleep in this.
Right, exactly.
And I don't think they gave her a reason to really tune in.
Yeah, she'd be getting a visit from the Sandman.
I don't think they gave a person like her a reason to kind of stick around and care for these characters and be excited for it.
Aside from the acting and just the emotion that these characters have, I would agree with you. But again, in order to appreciate a movie like this, you really need to be a sci-fi fan, right? Because like you said, casual viewers gonna be like, yeah, this movie's pretty boring. Whereas me, I was like, dude, I freaking loved it.
Yeah. So what do you rate this movie?
Good movie. You ready?
You ready? I think we're gonna be different here, but we'll see.
This movie a 9.
Woo! That's the highest
movie a 9
rating you gave a movie so far.
It is the highest movie rating
since we've been doing this.
Yep, it is. I'm giving this one a 9. And who knows? Maybe I'll be able to give the sequel a 10. I don't know. I'm hoping I do. I'm hoping I do.
See, this is what I kind of feel like. Awesome. If you're into this, I think it delivers. But if you're not so into these concepts, I don't think it's going to change your mind.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, like you said, I mean, I'm with you. I think the casual viewer probably might not like this movie that much. Now, they're not going. I mean, they're definitely going to like the acting and they're going to like the scenery and all that. But the actual story and just how kind of slow it goes, yeah, you're right. They probably won't like it.
Yeah, I feel it's exactly like Blade Runner. You see Blade Runner, Harrison Ford, and those characters, Dave Bautista, and you're like, wow, this has an all-star cast. It's going to be a lot of action. It's sci-fi. No, not really. It's more about the story, and that's a pretty dry movie too. This movie and that movie very similar to me, and it has its fans, and its other people are like, wow.
Yeah. What do you rate it, man?
Definitely not a 9 for me. That's for sure. I mean, I liked it. I want to see where it goes, but it was not hitting on those cylinders like it was for me. But so I'm torn between a 6 and a 7 on this is kind of where I'm lying, and I'm probably going to give this a 7 because I look forward to see where it's going. I hope the next movie ups this one. I really think this movie should have had some scene that really got me hooked, and it really didn't do that. The sandworms were kind of cool, but
sandworms cool, and you'll see more of them in the next movie. So.
But is that really anything more impressive than you've seen on Mandalorian? Probably on par with what you've seen from those creatures on Mandalorian.
Kind of that kind of stuff, yeah. But they're still. I mean, I still thought they were super cool looking, right? And then, like I said, in the next movie, you're going to see more. There's going to be people riding the sand. You did get to see a little bit of the salmon riding in this one, but
like a hot second, yeah.
Right, exactly. But yeah, man. I mean, hey, 7 ain't bad. For somebody who...
yes, I mean, 7's good. Yeah. I mean, if you're watching this on HBO... I recommend if you're torn, just watch it on HBO Max, and it's definitely worth it on there.
Yeah, no, I recommend going to see this bad boy on IMAX. I read an article, that... Because, typically I'm not going to see a movie in 3D unless it was made specifically for 3D.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Avatar was or something. But I was reading an article that somebody wrote that said this movie actually was pretty dang good in 3D. Like they watched it, so they enjoyed it.
Yeah, I normally don't do this. It's too dark.
Yeah,
but
right, exactly. But yeah, but definitely at least check it out on IMAX. If you're gonna go to theater to see this thing, man, check it out on IMAX. And it was beautiful movie, awesome movie. Highly recommend. A 9, the highest thing I've given anything. So
that's saying something.
I'd tell you something right there. Yeah, I think you've only given a 9 to something one time before, right?
Yeah, it's Free Guy so far this year. I enjoyed that.
Yep, and I like this better than Free Guy. So,
okay. Those are two different movies, but yeah,
absolutely. But hey, I definitely want to hear what some of you guys think about this movie. So please chime in and tell us what you think about it. Especially if you're a Dune fan. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it flowed pretty well with the story in the book. Let me know if there was some stuff in there that you wish they'd put in and wasn't in there. And we'd love to hear from you guys. But hey, man, if you like our channel, hit like and subscribe. And we will check you guys in the next review.
See you guys.
Dune.
I think if hardcore people watch it, they're gonna be like, this guy, I don't know what he's talking about. Does it live up to the hype, or is it doomed?
Bautista.
Oscar Isaac.
Grossed a lot of money in Russia?
You ever wanted to know what it's like to be on Tatooine for an entire movie? This is your movie.
Stick around, we're about to find out. The kind of movie's gonna draw you in like quicksand or leave you feeling like you had a visit by the Sandman. Stick around, we're about to find out.
A visit from the Sandman? What is that? Is that good?
Sandman, sleeping, alright? Oh, Sandman.
Those sound like two bad things.
Like inner Sandman, sleep.
Doo-doo, doo-doo.
No, draw you in like quicksand, he'd suck you into it, in the movie.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
Is this a mirage of a good movie, or? Hey guys, we just saw the long and highly anticipated Dune.
That's right, everybody, we sure did. And with all the hype about this movie, what we really want to find out, is this the type of movie that's just going to suck you in like quicksand? Or is this one...
I thought you had it down.
With such anticipation, is this the kind of movie that's going to suck you in like quicksand and live up to the hype? Yeah. Is this movie going to live up to the hype and leave you feeling like you... That ain't what I was going to say. Shit. All right.